Max Verstappen's future with Red Bull Racing Team is really unsure right now, but it looks like the team from Austria is ready to do something that has never happened before in racing. After she left, which was probably done to make Max happy, Red Bull is now ready to put the Dutch driver's name right in the team's official name. Is this a clear sign that Red Bull is getting desperate because they're falling apart? And if this is true, will this move help them keep Verstappen around? You can clearly see Red Bull breaking apart in the news, and I don't think there's anything that can stop it from happening. For example, what started when Adrian Newey left continued with other people leaving like Wheatley and Courtoon, and it ended with Christian Horner getting fired. It seems like the British guy couldn't survive the fact that Verstappen's future with the team was in danger. So the Austrian owners, who now own most of the team, decided right away to let her go. But this isn't the only thing they're willing to do to keep Max happy. According to the latest news from Formula1.ehs, Red Bull is ready to let Verstappen become a main sponsor for one of their two teams. We've seen that they've changed lots of names for their sister team, with the latest one getting a lot of criticism, that the sport became nothing more than just a place for advertising. And I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to put Max's name up there in the team name, because they're in a really bad situation right now. The team has been broken apart from the inside, and what Jos Verstappen said came true. As long as Horner was leading the team, we were going to see Red Bull turn into a mess. And now, after he left, it seems like Max's future isn't certain either. Which is why the Austrian team is ready to do something that has never been done in the sport before. If they let Max Verstappen name one of their two teams, it's a clear sign that the driver is more important than the team. And I don't think that's really a healthy way to continue working together between them and Verstappen. Not even Mercedes did something like this with Hamilton, or Ferrari with Schumacher. Yes, the team from England supported the charity that Hamilton has, Project 44, but that's very different from what Red Bull supposedly wants to offer to the four-time world champion. They are in a desperate situation. We already knew that, and the 2025 championship is impossible to win in both categories. But instead of giving these offers to Max for short-term happiness, maybe Red Bull needs to focus on the big picture and accept the fact that a future without Verstappen is something that's going to happen eventually. What Red Bull needs to look at is making their car better with technology. This is something that has been talked about a lot by the news, especially after important people like Newey left. After Pierre Watch and Enrico Balbo, two of Horner's most trusted friends, were put in charge of the technical parts of the car, the situation has been anything but good for the Austrian team. The upgrades aren't working. We've seen Mad Max get angry on a couple of occasions, and even the team's strategy has been questionable, to say the least. Horner leaving has made the hole that Red Bull is in even deeper. But it shows how important Max Verstappen is for them to exist. They've also come to understand that there aren't that many drivers available on the grid who can drive the RB21 or even the 2026 car, which is why they want to make sure that Verstappen stays no matter what it costs. The offer that they're reportedly making for him to name one of the two teams could be a sign of even more commitment that they're willing to make with Max. However, giving him that much power might end up hurting them in the end, exactly the way that the whole thing with Horner did. One man cannot be more important than the entire team, and it does seem like Red Bull haven't learned from their mistake properly. And a question that Red Bull needs to answer for themselves is whether Horner leaving guarantees that Max will stay with the team. The first belief was that with Matestitz's sale of the 2% shares and the Austrian side owning most of the team, it meant that Max was going to be kept happy no matter what it cost. However, after the latest meeting that he and Wolff had in Sardinia, we realized that the four-time world champion is anything but safe when it comes to keeping him in Red Bull. The latest offer that they have for Verstappen is not really a good sign that they're sure Max will stay in the team now that Horner is out of the way. Recent reports said that Verstappen is looking for stability, and although that would be guaranteed now that Horner is no longer the team leader and the CEO of the team, the major technical staff have all left. So even if you have stability in the team now, you don't have experienced people to fix the mistakes that brought the car to where it is right now. Only 7 points have been scored by a driver who isn't Verstappen in the RB21s. And with Verstappen scoring 74% of Red Bull's points in 2024, I think the Austrian team does understand how important and vital it is for them to keep the world champion happy. So, what are the good and bad things about joining Mercedes? If you're Max Verstappen, you'll probably be part of a team that's going to dominate the newly regulated era for a start, or at least have a big advantage compared to the rest of the grid. It's a brand new environment, and it's a challenge in your career to prove to the entire Formula One world that you can win titles with more than one team. Furthermore, you'll expand your brand to a new team and you'll gain a lot of new fans, although it would be very hard for Mercedes fans to cheer for Verstappen after what happened back in 2021. Still, we've seen how Hamilton's move to Ferrari had happened and how the entire world accepted that this is a cruel, unforgiving sport. But on the other hand, what does Verstappen gain if he stays in Red Bull and is given the luxury of having his name on the team, either Red Bull or Racing Bulls? Well, business-wise, it's a massive gain for Verstappen's legacy in Formula One because he'd be able to promote a lot of his personal businesses through this platform. After all, he's a very successful driver. And a move like this could give him motivation to continue racing well beyond his 30s, something that he firmly said no to on multiple occasions up until now, and especially now that he's become a father. However, it could also give him unprecedented power in which he'd be able to make decisions that will go against what the shareholders believe. After all, as good as Verstappen is, he's not a businessman or a decision maker. He is a Formula One driver. He's exceptionally good at driving these engineering masterpieces, not making big decisions behind closed doors. And if something emotional or personal is on his mind, then I doubt he will be willing to let go until it happens his way. A very big question here is being held by the engines as well. Red Bull, of course, are entering the new era with their new engine units, which will have Ford's name on them. Since they're technically going to be beginners just like Audi, people expect that they'll be one of the worst on the grid. And if you know a thing or two about Max Verstappen, you'd understand that the last thing he wants is to race for any position less than first place. I know this is the goal of every driver out there. But who has the determination like Max, and who has shown the execution like the 4-time world champion when many people doubted him? But if Verstappen wants to get an answer to this question, then it would be necessary for him to race in Red Bull for at least 1 year in 2026, of course. Chances to sign with teams like Mercedes might not come along that often in the future, and this is why Wolff wants to pressure him into a decision very soon. Max is not rushing things though, and said that he's committed to his contract, which is set to run out in 2028. But with everything being up in the air right now, will this last offer from Red Bull be enough to keep Max in their rows? With all this in mind, what do you think about the desperate moves that Red Bull are making in order to keep Verstappen on board? And more importantly, do you think that the situation could turn from bad to worse very soon for the Austrian team if Max accepts to be a title sponsor and include his own brand with the team with which he won 4 championships? Let us know in the comments below. And once you do that, make sure to click on the video that's appearing on your screen right now.